Spill. Case number 026. Growing pains or building more than the building.
Welcome back to Motion to Spill.
Thank you.
I'm your friendly co-host, the Megan Rogers.
Oh my God. It just doesn't have the same ring.
Doesn't it though?
No.
Okay.
But
It's
you
kind of
are
your thing.
the Megan Rogers.
I am. It just doesn't have the same ring. I need my own thing.
Okay, just kidding. I'm Sarah Young.
In case you didn't figure.
According to Megan, the not friendly co-host.
Oh my God.
You actually said that a few episodes ago that I'm not friendly.
I did not.
Yes, you did. I just listened to it this morning.
You actually did.
You were not. No.
She did.
That was.
You said I'm not a friendly person.
You were not warm and fuzzy. No.
I can't be if I like you.
Yes, you can
But
be.
it takes me a while to warm up.
Yeah, you have to warm up
You've
because.
always been warm and fuzzy to
Why,
me.
thank you, Mr. Beeman.
You're welcome.
Oh, don't butter her up.
Butter.
Okay.
I love butter.
I do too.
Butter.
Butter.
With a few questions for each other. So,
I got one. I
okay,
got one.
good. I was like, who goes first?
Would you rather be the most popular kid in school or the smartest kid in school?
Easy. Smartest kid.
Definitely the smartest kid.
I mean, popular kid works out in 80s movies, but
It actually usually does not.
Actually, you're right, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's always the smart ones that end up showing why they're worth more.
And look at Patrick Dempsey now. He has flourished.
Yes, he has.
Okay. Absolutely the smarter kid because popularity fades and things that are cool in high school.
It's blank slate when you graduate.
I'm so thankful I did not peak in high school.
I definitely didn't. I was super awkward even through college. I'm not sure if I peaked yet as far as like being cool, but
You did it in my book.
oh, thank you.
Cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Little Taylor Swift heart thing.
Oh.
What about you, Tim? Which one would you pick?
Why can't you be both?
You can.
I actually knew some in, not necessarily here, but when I was going to school in West Virginia, the jocks were actually pretty intelligent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they were able to do both and still be straight A students.
Wow. Well, I mean, I was a jock, I guess. I played 4 varsity sports. Well, one year I ran cross country, but then I hated running. So I played basketball, volleyball, and soccer. And I was pretty smart, I think, for high school anyway.
And here you are.
So what about you, Megan? Smart or popular?
Oh, definitely smart.
Okay. All right. Well, next question.
She's having to hide it like she's playing poker with a bunch of other people.
Yeah. So what we've got, Tim has these cards that you can like randomly or not randomly pick that has like random questions on it. So I was just looking through a few.
Those are episode cards, though.
Oh, okay. Well, you go, Megan.
Okay. So, what is your favorite body part about yourself?
Well, until recently, my eyes, because I always get comments about my eyes. But my eyes are extremely sensitive. And this allergy season has kicked my butt with allergies. And my eyes will be like seeping and watering and disgusting. They're very, very sensitive to everything. So probably not that anymore. I don't know. What about you?
Oh, my hair, hands down.
Absolutely your hair. Has to be that.
I love my curls. So, yeah, wouldn't change that for the world.
What about you, Mr. Tim?
Well, my voice doesn't count, right? That's not a body part. That's a bodily action, I guess.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
a caveat to that somewhere.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
I would say probably my visual trademark is my goatee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When people, the guy with the goatee and now the 2 ponytails. So
You're a recognizable guy for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
So
And my eyes have always gotten me.
how long have you had the goatee?
Well, the goatee itself, like this, that changes because I have changed it, but it's not been different in the last 10 years at least. But I've always switched it up, and I've even done full Santa beard for a couple of years.
I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
see you as Santa.
Oh, I'll show you pictures.
Okay.
He can do the Santa laugh though. So
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, oh, oh.
see, it works.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just perusing the stack of business cards you have to see if anything strikes my fancy.
Okay.
They do. So, what are 3 things that you are excited about right now, Megan?
Moving to our new office,
Which one?
the new Clemens office. I'm very, very excited. Sarah let me pick an accent wall, and I got to pick all my own colors.
Nice.
And yes,
We let every staff member, so of course we have to be on brand, but I let every staff member pick an accent wall. So color, if they wanted one. Not everyone chose to have an accent wall. I chose not to, but they all get to pick what color. You know, some of our staff love blue, some love green. I love the accent wall behind reception, which is a Sherwin-Williams peppercorn. I love that one.
yes, it's very pretty.
What's the name of Kira and Tessa's accent wall color?
Succulent.
Succulent. I thought it was like,
Nope, succulent.
okay. It's very pretty. It's a pretty green. Okay. So that's one.
Okay. I'm very excited about the rebrand and all the new areas of law that the other attorneys that are going to be a part of our firm are doing. So I like learning. I enjoy learning different things. So it's been fun to learn that and to figure out how those practice areas work, and my, nerdy operations self being excited about figuring all of that out and how that applies and the metrics and all of that. So I've got to nerd out a lot with that.
Okay, Tim, sorry to interrupt you, but Tim is showing me a picture of him, full beard, playing the electric guitar, badass Santa mode. I like it. I like it.
And your hair's short.
Yeah. Yeah. Up until, I had it long at one time, and then my son was 1 year old and I cut it all off and tried it a little bit back in 2012 or so, 2013, and then cut it off again. And now here I am again with it long. So.
Okay.
Your third thing.
Third thing.
My third thing. That shouldn't be hard, but it actually is.
You're only excited about 2 things and both of them are work related?
That says a lot about me as a person, doesn't it?
Yes.
And working
Oh,
for you.
I know what I am. I'm very excited
I like
about
how
it
you
being
spun that.
summer.
Why?
Because I hate being cold, and the hotter the better. I would be very happy in Florida. There is no such thing as too much humidity. And I love North Carolina summers.
Okay.
I am so excited about not being cold.
You like North Carolina summers.
I love North Carolina
Like
summers.
it feels like the armpit of hell sometimes.
And I love it. I am very happy.
Oh, another Santa beard picture. I love it.
That one's even longer.
Yeah. Just one of those
That-
guys can rock any facial hair. I
Yeah,
think.
you really can.
What's the one? Is it a Fu Manchu where it like curls up?
No, Fu Manchu is when it comes down,
Comes down.
and,
Oh, like
and hangs
the
down.
like the samurai.
Yeah.
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 I think you should have the curl
I would love to do that, but I don't like mustaches
mustache
on me.
Yeah, well, I think you could rock it. My husband is one of those that I love you, honey. I love you, Travis, but I just don't like him with facial hair. You've seen him bearded, right?
Yeah, and he just looks unkept. He's like this clean cut guy.
Yes.
And so it just doesn't fit his vibe because he dresses nice. He wears bright colors. You help him with that, but he does. He wears bright colors. You would hand him a pink shirt or a purple shirt and he will rock it.
He looks really good in pastels because he has hazel eyes. And if you look, he has like purple in his eyes. And whenever he wears like a lavender shirt, his eyes pop purple. It's really, really pretty. But anyway.
So he just doesn't, it just looks like he's trying to be somebody else. It
but the facial hair, it does. And it's very salt and pepper, but it also, he just looks like he is like.
He's had a rough weekend.
Yeah, he sure does.
It's not, I've seen pictures and it just does not keep it clean cut, Travis. Keep it clean cut.
Yeah. But Tim, you can keep rocking it.
There, I did that one. That was how I got married.
Oh.
So that was the two sides came down and bushy, and it was shaved in the middle, and then I dyed it red in the middle because it used to be my whole head and everything was that color. I used to do all of it that color.
That's cool. That's different.
Yeah, but you could even do mutton chops.
Yeah.
I bet you could rock that.
I bet you could. A lot of it's about attitude. Like you
True.
have the rocker metal mentality. I can see that.
You should see me when my hair's straight. It freaks everybody out.
Yeah, it is pretty freaky. It's like, who is that? That is not Meghan. She looks a little like Sarah Rafferty, but I still like the curls better.
Yes, they're my signature thing. And I get all the time, is that natural? Like, I love that you think I spend this much time curling it. No, this is just how it comes out of the shower.
Oh, that's cool. It's Tim showing us the many hairstyles.
Oh my gosh, that is like so 90s rock band.
Yes.
This is one of my favorites, though.
Yeah, remember when the frosted tips? Ooh, that's cool. The frosted tips were a thing for guys in the 90s.
My brother had them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Meghan, do you have any questions for me?
I just set it down. If you had to teach a class on what thing, what would you teach? I think I know. I'm just curious if I'm right.
I mean, I do seminars a lot for
No. You as a person, not you as an attorney.
me as a person. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I've never thought about it
So
before.
what's the question again?
If you could teach a class about what thing, what would it be? See, I think I could totally see you teaching a cooking class.
Really?
Yes.
Not good enough.
Yes, you are. And you like nerd out about spices and
Chemistry,
yes.
gastronomy.
We need to really cook together.
Oh, yeah. Tim made this most amazing barbecue sauce that he told us about
Yes.
with Fulton Creek Farms garlic honey.
Yes.
And there was a local jelly, right?
Well, it was given to me by someone local. I don't think they're local. It's called something. The jar came from Fresh Market, but I got it from Denise Heidel from the Louisville Clemens Chamber, and it's a sweet onion and peach relish.
Was it the Stonewood Kitchens?
No.
Stonewall Kitchens?
Nope. It's
Anyway, the picture he sent us of
the sauce.
the meal he created
Was
amazing.
drool worthy.
Yes. And I was hungry in that moment and distracted. And I wanted to respond and then I got distracted. But it looks amazing, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could totally see you teaching a cooking class just because you're passionate about it and you enjoy it.
I do really enjoy cooking.
And you make it fun.
Pickled Pink is the name of the brand.
That sounds different. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fresh Market actually is one of the few places. You said she got it at Fresh Market? Mm-hmm. Well, they are one of the few places in this area that have decent, I wouldn't say good, but decent caviar. So if you're ever looking for caviar.
I've never had it that I know of. Not caviar. I've had fish roe. but I've not had caviar.
Well, someday we'll do a tasting.
Excellent. I'm all for it.
All right, Tim, what class would you
creme
teach?
fraiche.
And you cannot say podcasting. That's
no,
your profession.
No. Yeah, no, because I hate doing those. I could see doing cooking or just overall being available.
What about like vocal coaching, like vocal lessons?
I could do that, but that's my profession.
True. I'm not like singing, but like the art of speaking, like the voice. Yeah, it is your profession though.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. On that though, and here's a cheap plug. I will be starting a such and such media podcast. Right.
Don't you already have one?
Not per se. This will be called such and such unmuted.
Oh.
So it will
After
be
dark.
It will be
Unchained.
I wish. It would be more just I don't like podcasts about how to podcast, but I want to do a podcast about podcasting. Not how to, just how I do it, how things are. It'll be hosted by Susie Fielders and myself. She hosts Twin City Talk, and she is the marketing person for such and such media.
Oh.
So we're going to do it, and I'll be answering questions about how I've handled stuff, because again, I don't want to instruct anybody on how to do a podcast. I just want to talk about what I went through to do it, because I've done it longer than most, and I've done it. I started it a year after YouTube came along, so there was no one on YouTube to show me how to do it. I had to learn on my own.
Huh. How very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I sometimes I wish, there's never really a true roadmap for things in life. But as we are, going through the acquisition phase of the firm in Mocksville that we're taking over, there are things that I wish I could just read about. Like, I just want a perfect blueprint for how to do this now, what's the right way to do this, what's the right way to do that. And you don't really see that a lot in law firms, because they don't like to share ideas. And the Wendy, who owns the managing partner in Mocksville that we're working with, she's been delightful. But it's still, every transition is a different thing. And we spent a good deal of time with her yesterday, and her office manager, Lindley, and we had a great conversation, but it was a hard conversation about things like bills and who's going to pay this, who's going to pay that, when that's going to happen. And it was a hard conversation, but I wish that there was like a checklist out there or a roadmap, or I guess I could have hired a M&A specialist, but I didn't have money for that because I decided to.
You just acquired a whole law firm.
Yeah. And then I also decided to, move our existing firm into a space that's double the size. So then I wanted to build it out to be exactly what I wanted, but we have to, funds are limited.
Yeah. And it's been
doing it at the same time.
Yes. Well, when we do things, we do them. We do it big.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting because you come into, when you're acquiring an established business, they have all of their things in place and how they do them. And there are going to be things that you learn from them that you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then there's going to be things that you're like, yeah, that's not going to work. But then you're dealing with all these individuals. And everybody has feelings and opinions.
Personalities.
All these things that you're dealing with. And so it's a constant dance of creating this new thing to make it bigger and better. And then also you're having to persuade staff. So this is how we see doing that. What are your thoughts? And trying to get them to come along to your idea, because if they don't buy into it, it's never going to work.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Absolutely. You have to have their buy-in. And it's not necessarily, I don't like the word convincing necessarily there, because I don't think that's the context that you meant.
No, it's not.
It's not trying to get them to agree to it. It's trying to have a collaborative approach to, okay, this is how we're doing it. This is how you're doing it. How can we do it better? And so I think after learning some of their processes, it will change naturally some of our processes in Clemens, and it will change some of theirs, and hopefully it will be for the better so that we can, put the good things together. But it's just interesting.
I mean, even hearing some of the problems that, some of their staff is dealing with, and we're like, oh, well, we've been there and done that, and this is how we fixed it. How do you think that'll apply to you? Because also, it'd be like you talking to someone who is doing a TV show. You both produce content for consumers, but in very different media settings. So it's not apples to apples. But
Similar.
there are things that do apply to both, and you could learn from someone who is doing that. So it's kind of like that. You're looking at very different practice areas that are run very different. It's still all law, and it's still North Carolina, but you have that, and then you mix people. And all of their stuff.
And there's also there's always the people component, and I will never forget. I don't know what my future holds as far as like businesses, and hopefully I'll still be practicing law in 10 years, but I have a very entrepreneurial mind, and I have all these ideas, and sometimes I'll be like, Megan, I have a great idea for this business. I have a great idea. Like, what do you think about this? And usually she's like, okay, here we go. But sometimes like she'll humor me and we'll build it out. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but I will never forget. And I hope they don't mind me sharing this, but
just leave out a name.
Oh, I will not mention the name, but everyone in Mocksville will know who it is. Everyone at the Mocksville firm. So we went, Megan and I, and Tessa was there because she was she's learning criminal law. But we sat down for lunch. And we were talking about various things, and we opened the floor for questions. And someone asked, "Well, what's your plan? What's your strategy?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have that nailed down yet." She's like, "Well, what's your timeline for transition?" And I said, "Well, this is step one, and that's the learning phase. I don't have a plan for, changing everything because I want to learn what you do first." And so there were some other questions, but one question we got was more of a statement. It wasn't a question. It was, well, you do realize that we are not property or assets to be bought and sold. And I thought, when you're thinking about things like that, there is a human capital element, but that's absolutely right. Like, that's the soft piece that I was not thinking about. They still have to agree to be there. They have to want to be there. They can leave. I mean, they're not indentured servants. They can get up and go. They can quit. They don't have to give me notice. They don't know me. They don't owe me anything. We're an at-will state. So it goes both ways. I could just let them go. But that's something I will never forget because the room went silent and everybody looked at me, including Megan. Her eyes got about 16 times bigger.
Because I never expected that to be said.
Everybody was thinking it.
But in our minds, that was already duh. Where we were, we had this conversation before that meeting of the biggest mistake that I think most businesses make when they do an acquisition of any kind is come in and change everything.
Yeah.
We do not need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We had this conversation of wanting to come in, and we were so thankful that Wendy was excited about it, on board with it, and that's been very important that we come in and just start learning. Like, just you show me all the things you do. Tell me what your problems are. Tell me what you love about your job, what you hate about your job, what you think works. Do you have ideas for how it could be done better? Like, let's do this for a couple months before the actual takeover, because then we would be able to put a good plan in place that would be beneficial to everyone. Us, we need to win because we're buying it, and they need to win because they have to do this every day. And that was our point of coming in and doing that. But then it was like, whoa, that was not our thought at all. I'm glad you brought it up because we need to fix that real quick.
Honestly, if that's said, I'm sure everybody in the room at some point had thought about it.
Yeah.
Well, they just think they're just going to come in and we're just going to be here and they're just going to do whatever they want. And there's, buying us. Well, no, I never thought about it like that, but I'll never forget that is a very real fear, because I've been parts of companies where there has been a management change or an ownership change, and they do come in and clean house, and it's awful.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, though. Going back to the question, we've got way off topic, but having a roadmap or having a podcast where you talk about how you came to your craft and how you did it. I love reading things like that, because even if I don't ever want to produce podcasts, and I don't ever want to do what you do, because you do a great job, and that's totally fine with me to let you do that. That's actually really interesting to me, because I love to hear how people got to where they are, because everybody's journey is different. But there are things that I could learn just from listening to that podcast that I could incorporate into, whether it be just a soft skill.
Yeah.
Because, I have certainly skills to learn. I'm not a friendly person, as Megan says.
Well, and the thing is nobody, no matter how much they think they do, nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
And you may or may not know who this is. George Lynch, he was the guitar player for Dokken.
I know?
Yeah. So
I know him. Not personally.
He says he loved, even 20 years ago, and he had been established for a while, to go to guitar shops and just like sit in the corner and maybe have a hat or something on, although he's hard to miss. But he would go there because someone else who is not him may have a different approach to something the way he would not have thought about it. And he's like, oh, let me try to incorporate that in there. We can always learn something from somebody. Some things you don't want to learn, but some things you do. And you have to be open-minded about the whole process. And that's one thing, is when such and such unmuted goes live finally, we've not even recorded any, but when we do, I'm going to make sure this is not a how-to. This is a how was.
Or how I.
It's just my experiences and how I did that. And we're also going to have TLD Network podcasts like this one to come on for it as well, and talk about your experience, because it is kind of an advertisement for such and such, what we can do, how we do it, but also the process of it. And we want the people who, I'm going to assume, are satisfied with how I handle it, to come on and talk about what it's like to work with me. Because, I want more of that. Not more, I don't need the accolades. I need people to hear the testimonials, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, that's been a part that I didn't realize I would enjoy so much. Lindley and I had a conversation this morning, talking with the gentleman that does our website, Birch Street Digital. Amazing. Love them.
Human Barani.
Yep. He's
fantastic.
Fantastic to work with. But he asks a lot of hard questions, and they were questions that I would have no way to answer. And so I'm on the phone with her and the other staff, and I'm asking all these questions, and I'm learning so much about their processes. And then we were collaborating on some things that the attorneys have said, and I'm talking about how, Sarah has handled it, and then how I have handled things that, when Sarah and I don't always see eye to eye. I know this is a shocker, but we don't. And how we've talked through it and what we've dealt with. And, she's like, oh, I think that would be cool. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to revisit this. So I have all these notes of different things that we're going to revisit and talk about when we sit down, of these are things that we have to deal with. And it's, I've really enjoyed learning the things that they've dealt with and how they have approached it, what they found did not work, because they have been a standalone law firm for longer than the law office of Sarah Young was. But something else you said about the, how you did it and that kind of thing, instead of a how-to, is it's kind of like people thinking, well, people are like, oh, well, Sarah's just growing by leaps and bounds and blah, blah, blah. And she's just, just flying up the ranks and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, over a decade in the making.
Yeah.
Just because you started that business 3 years ago, you've been honing your craft and learning and all of that from going from corporate America and working in that area as an attorney to private practice in different areas.
Before I was an attorney, I learned like the HR stuff to some extent. I worked in corporate America then. And so
you've been an overnight sensation for the last 15 years.
Well, I mean, I've been working since full time, basically since 2007. I mean, I've had jobs before that too, but
yeah, it's just funny when people were like, yeah, Sarah's just burning up. She's just, kicking ass and taking names. And I'm like, she absolutely is. But it wasn't overnight. It wasn't real fast. It wasn't.
Certainly hasn't been easy.
No.
Nobody sees that though.
No.
Nobody saw that we were at the new office until 11:30 last night. That's PM. Ripping up carpet, painting the walls, making repairs because I'm out of money in my budget for that because I'm using it elsewhere and I can't afford to pay a painter, or I can't even afford to pay somebody to lay carpet. I can afford the materials, but we are using our own sweat equity. But, nobody sees that part of it.
Yeah.
Nobody sees the sweat equity, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it.
Yeah, and we were talking to our kids about it. Sloan was there last night for a little while. Her mom had her yesterday afternoon, and then
my mom, that'd be grandma.
Yeah, grandma, meaning Sarah's mom had Sloan yesterday, and brought her. And as we're sitting there and we're working, I said, Sloan, do you know what this is called? And she's like, ripping up carpet. And I'm like, yeah, but do you know what that is that you're doing right now? And she's like, no. And I was like, this is sweat equity. Do you know what that means? And so we talked about what it meant. And, and my daughter was there as well. And, she's doing it. Now she's older than Sloan. Sloan is in elementary school. But I want them to see that because my dad is an amazing business owner and has come so far. And, people would tell me like, oh, it must be your dad is just so amazing. He just always has the Midas touch. And I'm like, but I remember being Sloan's age and helping my dad stuff envelopes. I remember my dad going into the office at 6 a.m. and not coming home till 9 p.m. to build that empire that, quote unquote, he just had the Midas touch. Because I do want my children to have that appreciation.
I do. And I like that Sloan's seeing that because 20 years from now, who knows what the business will look like. But I don't ever want anyone to think I was ever above taking out the trash, cleaning the toilet, ripping up carpet. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and do what it takes to build. I'm not talking about like clients right now. I'm talking about the actual business part of it because it's completely different. And the managing people part of it, it's tough, but
because honestly, the only things you see for attorneys on their stuff, which I don't know how podcasting works, that doesn't come up in my algorithm that Facebook suggests to me.
It will now.
Yeah, probably now.
It's always listening.
But it's just like, here's how you can grow your estate planning business and have a full house of seminars. And it's like this one little thing. And it's like, that's a very small part of the actual business. And that's the biggest thing that I think, like the E-Myth Revisited is one of those books that is really cool to talk about the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, and just talking about how we were talking about how a lot of attorneys are really good attorneys, but they're not really good business people. And that applies doctors.
And they're
that
not good managers
dentists,
either. Like managers of
a
people.
lot of professions that have standalone businesses to do their thing and they fail.
And that's so interesting that you bring that up because you're right. And you need all those pieces. You need the people management part. You need the honing your craft and being good at your craft part. But then you also need the business mind and you need to put them all together. And how you do that, it's tough. I mean, I've worked for attorneys that are good at all three. I've worked for attorneys that are good at two of the three or one of the three. But I mean, a lot of attorneys can be very, very successful and just have just themselves and a paralegal, and they have no aspiration to grow. And that's totally fine. That doesn't make them a bad attorney. But if that's what they want, if that's, they're okay with that, that's great. That's just not, that was never part of my plan. Like it's funny because whenever we were talking about the Mother's Day, or when we recorded the Mother's Day episode, one of the questions for my mother was, do you think Sarah will ever slow down? And she kind of chuckled and was like, no.
Yeah. Even if you're not doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I've always had multiple hobbies and multiple interests and just creative tendencies, but I don't have the soft people skills like Meghan does. So I have like the visionary and I have kind of like a business mindset. And of course, I love to practice law, but I don't have like the people part of it. And Meghan does, whereas she might not have the practicing law side, obviously. You're a great paralegal, though. But it's a very different hat, the business owner, as you grow and how you scale up. It's a very different mentality that you really, and I wonder how it transfers to something like an HVAC company, where you're a really great technician. You can fix about anything with, commercial air conditioning unit. But how does that translate to managing your staff, managing your people, marketing, business?
So I think the lesson to be learned in that is, while industry is industry specific, you don't go to schools, to college if you're going to get your MBA or whatever. You don't get it in something.
Right.
You get it because business is always the same. It's always business. You have the same components. You have liability, your insurance, your overhead, your employees, if you have any things you need to supply for that. All that is the same, no matter what industry you're in. But it changes when you get specifically into your business. Now, how you handle, like if you have one employee, two employees, you don't have to have workers' comp, right? You get past that, and then you start having to have it. And that's not what I mean. What I mean is the basics of business is basics of business across every business. Mm-hmm. But industry specific stuff, that's when you get into the minutia. But even before that, the foundation needs to be business is business.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I would imagine doctors have that same, not obligation, not mentality, but I don't know what the right word is, but they don't teach you how to do the business of law. They don't teach you how to build a business. They don't teach you how to run a business. They teach you how to practice law. Doctors don't necessarily learn how to build a business or manage a business. They learn how to practice medicine. So, and if you think about it, like, why would med school teach them how to run a business? Because
Not
many
all
people,
of them will.
Yeah, well, many lawyers either don't really have the aspiration of owning their own firm, or they're perfectly happy with just practicing law.
Yeah.
So, and that's great, because, you need people for that. But it's just interesting that there are not a whole lot of, especially in the legal context, I can't just pull up, like, financial advisors are great at this, about like their podcasts and like building businesses, and insurance people, like how to scale up, and you don't really have that in the law setting.
They like to keep that all to themselves.
Yeah. And I know it happens. I know it happens in the background, because there are large firms around here and they didn't just appear overnight. But, it's things that, like in law school, if you had told me, you really need to think about the business side of law, I would say, oh yeah, business law. I know all about business law. I know how to set up an LLC. I know how to form, a corporation. I know, tax structures. Like, no. That's business law. That's not the business of law. The business side of it. So it's very different in business strategy. So it's interesting.
I still think it's wild that you can get a degree as an entrepreneur because I feel like you either are or you're not.
It's a mentality for sure.
And I mean, one of my favorite things is business development. I love figuring out how to find the people that are looking for you. They're looking for you, but how do you make sure they find you?
Yeah.
And creating the client relationships and, building how this will match with this and how do you get people to think of you and all of those parts. And some of those things you can teach, but some of them you cannot. And that was
soft skills for sure. Yeah.
And that was one of the things my dad was talking to me about being a rainmaker. And the term rainmaker means bringing in the business. Mm-hmm. And that's the context I'm talking about it in this time. And in being able to do that, and, that's even hard. Like you have to already be a person that has that personality to do that. But then you have to understand your industry enough to be able to apply it. Because I do not know the first thing about HVAC, as you brought up. I can't imagine going to work for an HVAC company and being like, all right, I'm going to build this business.
Well, no, but you can learn some of that. You can learn some of the craft or whatever you need to learn to be able to see how to manage it. And
but
the
then comes the
side
problem
of
of
it.
the passion.
Yes, you always have to. I was actually, this book I'm reading right now, and they talk about that very thing is you have to have the passion, but it can't necessarily be your passion project.
Absolutely.
Because your passion project sometimes blinds you.
Absolutely. But yeah, you have to really care about it and want it.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when I'm talking to our clients, when I'm talking to potential referral partners or current referral partners or things like that, being passionate about what we do and how we can help people, you can't fake it. You can always tell when someone is faking that.
Oh, yeah.
And then that is just a turnoff. That makes it even worse than if you didn't say anything. But having that and then making sure that all of your employees have that same mindset, that they feel the same way you do. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good they are at their job, it's going to come across.
Yeah, for sure. And if, we've had employees in the past that have had the mentality of, well, this is just a job. I'm just here for a paycheck. Well, then this is not the place for you. Because that's not going to work in our business that we are building, because you have to have that interest and desire. I mean, what we do, it's hard, and it's stressful, and it's intense sometimes. But if you don't have that desire to help, or you want to be better, and you're just interested in a paycheck,
Well, even when people talk about you being a dirt lawyer, which refers...
what does that mean?
I was going to say, which refers to
real estate
attorneys.
Okay.
That they are dirt lawyers, because, that's that's just basic law. That's just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but have you ever been around somebody buying a house and how they feel about it? How involved they are? Have you ever worked with a business owner that's finally able? I'm not talking about investors. That, I guess you can get into that. They are excited about another acquisition, but somebody that can finally afford their own building and you're trying to help them through it. It's not boring. It's not, there's emotion and all of that. I mean, you can clearly see how that works with family law and estate law when you're talking about people that have died and mourning and there's so many high emotions and family dynamics and all of that. And you have to really care to get through all of that with someone.
Well, and aside from that, going back to the dirt law reference, I really like to dig into the complicated real estate issues because that's what I really enjoy. I like cleaning things up and making them work. And finding issues, not necessarily finding them, because sometimes when I find these issues with real estate, I'm like, oh no,
Because they're going to be upset.
Yeah. But making it happen and handing those keys over at the closing table.
I mean, it was so fun, that closing the other day when I came in and was trying to help with the baby, because this young couple was buying their first house and they have their little baby with them who was so tired because it was her nap time.
Oh, she was precious.
But they were so happy and getting them to the finish line.
Yes.
I'm like, how can you just call that dirt law? Those people were so excited, like, okay, we're going to take little Susie home and put her down for a nap while we pack it up so we can go get her own room. And, you know, they were just so excited.
Well, what you didn't see is, so they were clients of a good friend of ours who's a realtor. This wasn't the first house that they found. Like, they have been this, you know, they found a house, and because of the type of loan they had, FHA loan, which is the first time home buyers loan, if the house is in bad enough shape, they just won't loan you money for it. And so they had a few things fall through, like they didn't pass inspection. So the first house they saw just didn't work out. And then, you know, then they made offers on their houses, but they couldn't get there because, you know, you only are pre-approved for so much money. And if you get outbid, you get outbid. And so this has been like, I think they were telling me while I was in there signing with them that this has been like a 2.5 year journey for them. And that is really cool to get. Like, there were some things in that particular closing that had to be cleared up with the sellers and like the seller side of things. And so it wasn't your bread and butter, easy, simple refinance. You know, it was. But we got to the closing table and the excitement. I really love that. So.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, it's not. There is, I don't think there is an area of law that we practice or have other attorneys in our firm practice that is boring.
No. And we find a way to make things interesting. Because I've had people tell me estate planning is boring. I was like, really?
Oh my gosh, you have to dig into people's lives. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts is the discovery part of that.
And you talk about the family dynamics and, oh, well, you know, this one's spouse and that one's kid. And and making sure that your wishes are carried out exactly how you want them. Like, I don't think it's boring at all.
So the fun part about that for me, Tim, is that when we do those, when those people come in, I go in there with them first because that part can eat up a lot of time for Sarah. So Sarah can be working on closings and other things, and I am digging in. I'm like, I am here to get all the details, the demographics, names, addresses, dates of birth.
You're the intake.
Yeah, I'm getting all of that. And then I want you to explain to me what you want to have happen and why. And then I'm going to take this back and I'm going to go grab Sarah and we're going to come in and talk about how we can legally make that happen for you. And sometimes I'm in there for 20 minutes. Sometimes it could be 45. It just depends if you get into a blended family and some special needs and a business or two, like it may be 45 minutes. But, that is, I love that part of my job. Even though I love the business development, but I really enjoy really getting to know our clients and getting them to trust me because that's the thing. They come in the door and they tell you this. Or the intake phone call was just this. But once you start talking and asking questions and you're able to look at their face and read those micro expressions and all of those things, you're like, wait, no, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And you're getting all this. And then I go back to Sarah's office. She's like, all right, hit me with it. And so whatever the 45-minute stuff was, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And she reads my notes. And then we go in and we're able to help these people accomplish their goals.
But sometimes you can cue me in on things and then I can ask more specific questions.
Oh, yeah. There's always more because then she's like, OK, but why? And this and this, because my job is just the basic information. Because a lot of times people will be like, well, where's the attorney? And I'm like, she'll be here in a moment. But she does not need to be here for me to get everybody's addresses and dates of birth and names. She doesn't need to be here for that. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then they kind of calm down and we get into it. Because Sarah used to be in there for the whole thing. And I was like, this is just wasting so much of your time that can be used other places, and they're going to get the same exact outcome.
Right.
It will be no different.
You're like the nurse at your doctor's
Taking the
office. They
vitals.
take the vitals. So, because why would the doctor take time to do that? Doctors there say, okay, yes, this seems like this is the problem, or let me listen to your lungs, and yeah, okay, this is all great. You can go now, pay me. But but if he had to stop and take your blood pressure and your temperature and are these the same meds that you have been using, all the things that nurse does, that's what you're doing. And you are completing the process in the beginning.
Yep. And, and there's still questions that I was like, wow, I didn't even think that I needed to ask that. You get better every day. You learn new things every day, but there's just so many things of it depends and if this, then that you're like, oh, I didn't even know that could have this downstream effect. I've never seen that before. But I didn't go to law school. And also the amount of cases that Sarah has dealt with and seen and worked with other attorneys on and all of these things that she has learned over the years. It's just, I'm never going to catch up because she keeps learning.
That's not a competition.
No.
And that's the point, is that you have to surround yourself with the right people. And there's no way that I could do all of it without you or without our other staff. So
yeah, because Kira does the same thing for real estate. It's the exact same thing. All right, give me all your details. Give me this, give me this, give me this. And then you go to the attorney and say, all right, here's all the details. What else do I need to know? What should I do next? Yep. And okay, well, when you're going to meet with them and she's going to be able to get to the point, because otherwise it would cost more. If you had to have Sarah doing all that, it would cost more. Well,
we had somebody that was not represented by a realtor several weeks ago that Kira was speaking with about a contract and about the closing process. And she sent an email to our closings email, which I saw because I see those emails, even if I don't directly respond to all of them. And it said something like, when do I actually get access to the attorney? At what point will she be involved in this process? And so Kira was like, what do I do with this? And so my response was basically, I have been involved in every step of the process. But, she takes this information to keep your costs down so that, you have access to me, but it's not, you're not paying, hundreds of dollars per hour for me to answer your email.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I think that our firm does a pretty good job on. And honestly, I've seen that with the firm in Mocksville because I've listened to their conversations that you can either pay the paralegals hourly rate or you can pay the attorneys. If you want to pay the attorneys, that's fine. Just know that it's this rate and you're going to pay that the whole time. Or you could talk to the paralegal and they'll just be running everything through the attorney. It's not that they're not ever supervised or that they're not getting feedback from the attorney, but I'm able to take what someone gives me in a whole 2 pages of notes and give it to you in 5 minutes and hit what I know you actually need to know and not the filler. So that is why you can charge the paralegal rate. It's not that you're not getting the attorney. It's that we're keeping your costs down.
Yeah.
Because you're able to finish up a closing or a title issue or any of that during when Kira is taking an intake, when I'm taking an intake, if estate's paralegal is taking an intake, it doesn't matter who's doing them. You're able to be getting other work done for other clients that want you to finish their work.
Right. But there again, going back to honing your craft, that's more of a business logistics thing. But Tim, you mentioned perseverance, and that is certainly something that has been tough. When I first went out on my own, I left a steady, stable income to have $0 in steady, stable income other than my husband's salary. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
And so I had a one-room office. That was a one-woman show, and kind of went from there. And it was terrifying. And there have been points where I'm like, you know what? I am not cut out for this. I'm going to respond to that LinkedIn message that I just got from this headhunter or recruiter. this isn't for me. There have been, and it had nothing to do with practicing law. It's the business side of it, the building side of it that's so hard that, I don't think any book can really prepare you for adequately. And you can learn about it, but no degree, I think, prepares you for that adequately either. But it's tough, and regardless of what your field is, there's something going back to you. There's something to be said about, you started this when YouTube was a baby, and you're still here doing it.
Yeah.
How many small businesses fail at the 1 year, 2 year, 5 year mark? I think the statistics are pretty high.
Yeah.
And so you've obviously done something right over the years that, I'm interested to hear about.
Yeah. So. I look forward to talking about that.
So we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
That was totally not planned. We totally went off outline.
Well, I think our best episodes kind of have been.
I don't know the toy episode. I had a rough outline for that one. It's still my favorite one.
That is probably, honestly, that is what I tell people to listen to. I'm like, if you've never listened to our podcast before, go to this episode.
That one was so silly. I love that episode. We'll have to do that again or something similar. But this is just kind of what's going on in our lives right now. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting. It's very exciting. It's terrifying. I snapped at you yesterday. Megan was looking at desks, and I told her I was going to get her a new desk because her office is bigger, and she's been operating on a 24 by 59-inch desk for the last 2 years, and it's time to upgrade to a big girl desk. And so she brings me over to her desk, and she's like, "Here, look, this is what I found. I really like this." And I was like, "What? I can't afford something like that. That's too much money. What do you?" I kind of went off. I kind of lost it. It went off on her. I mean, the staff did not observe it, but it was kind of like the buildup of all these things, and like the money part of it, and this much for power, this much for case management software, this much for security and firewalls and IT, and it was like the buildup, and it was just all of that I kind of keep down and I push down so that no one actually sees any of that. And then Megan, happens to be my office operations manager and also, my best friend. And so sometimes after hours, I let the top come off.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad about that, but
I didn't take it personally. I was like, oh, I didn't say we should buy this one. This is just a style I like. We'll keep looking.
And I was like, okay, I'm sorry I yelled at you.
Okay.
But
I was like, I didn't even look at the price, actually. I was just like, what kind of style would I like? What do I like? What do I not like? Why do I like that desk and hate this one? And I figured out a lot of I do not like when they're open at the bottom.
Yeah, no, we like the privacy panel.
The privacy panel is important to me. So I've figured that out. And apparently that's not in style right now. So it's hard to find.
Yeah.
So anyway, the desk solution has not come about yet, but I'll keep you informed, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know he's
waiting with bated breath.
He's very interested. Well, this has been Motion to Spill and the building episode.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about kind of like they say the church is not the building, it's the people. It's kind of a similar thing, It's not, the business is not the building or the name on the door. It's the people. And there's so many moving parts to it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, thanks for chatting with us so candidly today.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time. Quick reminder, while I am a lawyer, I may not be your lawyer. This podcast is designed to educate and entertain, not to provide legal advice for your personal situation. Every legal issue is unique, and good legal advice requires knowing all the specifics of your case, which I don't have from a podcast. If you need legal help with a legal matter, please consult with a qualified attorney in your jurisdiction who can give you personalized guidance. Thanks for listening, and remember, no attorney-client relationship is created by tuning in.
This is Motion to Spill. All rights are reserved. So this podcast is ours, not yours. We made it, we own it, and we copyrighted it. So don't steal our stuff, don't copy it, share it commercially, or don't try to pass it off as your own genius. If you want to use our content for something, just ask us, like a normal person. We might say yes, and we might say no, but at least you won't be breaking the law. Seriously though, unauthorized use of this content can get you in legal trouble, and no one wants that kind of drama. And I mean, come on, she's an attorney. Don't mess with her.